hope that everyone can hear me. We are now about to start the next part of the session. For that, can I kindly request everyone to say Namo Tassa once again. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. As we know, when we practice mindfulness, it is the recommendation of the Blessed One for us to support the practice. And he has introduced 5 such supportive factors. Of those 5 factors, 2 are listening supportive factor and the discussion supportive factor. This time has been allocated for that purpose, for listening and the discussion. When we do these things, we will be able to confirm the knowledge that we are gathering from our practice, clear any of our doubts, have new knowledge of where we are going, and straighten our views and what is we are bogged down in the current Buddhist world is the entertainment or the enjoyment that we get from listening to Buddha's word, right? So because of those 5 reasons, we engage in the listening supportive factor. For that, what we have, the topic we have is the pathway to Nibbana. As the pathway to Nibbana, what we have selected is the 4 foundations of mindfulness discourse. That is the discourse that the Blessed One has recommended as the pathway to Nibbana. Very clear path. And we have discussed now this discourse, few sections, few parts of the discourse. If I may recollect your memory, we have discussed the historical background of this discourse. Venerable Ananda mentioned that this has been delivered in a commercial town called Kammasadhamma. And that commercial town is in a kingdom called Kuru. And if you Google Kuru dynasty, it is still there. Although the same name is not there, it has been there in the past. So if someone wants to go and dig how and when, there are informations that are given in the discourse itself. And then the Blessed One addressed the gathering saying Bhikkhu, which means those who are following the path, right? So we cleared our doubt on that, whether the Bhikkhu means only those who are wearing saffron robe and shaven head, or whether it is more broad or more narrow. According to Blessed One's explanation, as Mahasangha, the Blessed One is including anyone who is in the path, anyone who is mindful, who is trying to achieve the first stage of enlightenment, not achieved, but trying to achieve, can be considered as Mahasangha or Bhikkhu. So in that context, we all who are practicing mindfulness can be considered as bhikkhus. And the people who have been in that village or the commercial town, they have been practicing some sort of mindfulness. So since they have been practicing, since they are not someone coming out of the bar or gambling den or some other den, they are pure virtuous people. So they can be considered as people who are trying to follow a spiritual path. So this may be the reason why the Blessed One addressed the gathering bhikkhu. So after addressing the gathering, and when the gathering responded, the Blessed One, Badante, which means, "O Lord," Blessed One is starting his first, opening his mouth to deliver the discourse. The first thing he says is, Ekano Ambiko Yamako, which means there is one and only way for the purification of beings, not physical purification, both physical and mental purification, and getting rid of sorrow and lamentation, and extinguishing of suffering and mental and physical suffering, and then attain the true path and attain Nibbana. For all those things, there is only one and only way. And then when you see that Blessed One has to deliver the discourse, he has not done anything. The first thing he does is he is putting his advertisement out. He says, these are the benefits. This is what you gain. This is what you will have by following this discourse or following 4 bases of mindfulness. And then the Blessed One says, there are 4 things. These are the 4 things. And he has mentioned that you will have to be mindful on the body, mindful on the feelings or the sensations, mindful on the mind, and then mindful on the phenomena that are occurring place. To do all these things, you can't just do them. There are certain qualities with which you will have to be mindful of your body. You will have to be mindful of your sensations. You will have to be mindful of your mind. You will have to be mindful of the natural phenomena that is taking place. So what are those qualities we discussed in the previous sessions? And the qualities are, you will have to be very ardent, right? Not doing it for the sake of doing it. You do it with energy. You will have to exert sufficient industrious attention. So that is ardency. And the next one is, it has to be done with clear comprehension, right? Clear comprehension led by mindfulness. And then it has to be done in such a way that you will remove or you will eradicate or you will minimize the attachment to the world, which is full of craving and hatred, right? And with those 3 qualities, you will have to be mindful of the body, you will have to be mindful of the sensation, you will have to be mindful of the mind, you will have to be mindful of the phenomena. So after signposting what you will have to be mindful of and what general qualities you are expected to have when you become mindful, then the Blessed One is taking the first one, right? And first one is mindfulness on the body. When you become mindful of the body, Blessed One is giving 14 ways how you can be mindful of the body. Of those 14 ways, the first 2 we have already discussed. So I'm not going to take that summary now. I'm going to take the summary of that in the topic that we are going to discuss today. And the topic that we are going to discuss today is it is very hard to find a common English term for it. And the general English term that is used is clear comprehension led by mindfulness. And the Pali term that is used is sampajanya pab, right? Or clear comprehension, not clear comprehension led by mindfulness. Clear comprehension is the chapter that we are talking. And it is a way that you can be mindful of your body. So we will see what that chapter says. That chapter says, goes this way. Again, a monk, while going forward or backward, he does so with constant thorough understanding. Whether he is looking straight ahead or looking sideways, he does so with constant thorough understanding. While he is bending or stretching, he does so with constant thorough understanding. Whether wearing his robes or carrying his ball, he does so with constant thorough understanding. Whether he is eating, drinking, chewing, savoring, he does so with the constant thorough understanding. While attending to the calls of nature, he does so with the constant thorough understanding. Whether he is walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking or speaking, or in silence, he does so with the constant thorough understanding, right? And that is how the Blessed One is introducing the clear comprehension. And in this particular section, I said, in English translation, they don't just, the chapter itself is called Constant Thorough Understanding of Impermanence, right? In other translations I have seen, they say clear comprehension chapter, right? So it is very clear when it comes to English translation, they are struggling to explain this term, the term called sampajanya, right? So, so therefore I thought to take that Pali term and see the meaning of that Pali term a bit more in detail rather than just taking a translation that has been provided in books or in a book. So the word sampajanya, when our teacher, Most Venerable Bhante Dhammajiva, when he is explaining, he says, this word can be divided into three, right? One is sam, right? And the other is sampa, and the other is janya, right? So when you say sang, it gives the meaning of self, yourself, your own, right? That is sang. And in Sinhala we call it swang. And the next one, the sampa, means that is giving the meaning of complete, full, totality, right? And the janya means the knowledge. In Sinhala term is jnana. So when you take these three terms, it is clear that if it is self, your own, and if it is complete or full, and if it is the knowledge that you gather, the meaning of the term is not constant thorough understanding of impermanence, or clear comprehension is fairly close, but it does not give a strong meaning as we have just discussed, right? So the word sampajanya means this total, complete self-knowledge gained is sampajanya, right? So get to that sampajanya, get to that total knowledge. This understanding of these three terms are very important. Now, when we say Sang, when you say your own, you will have to be very aware that nobody can give it. If you practice, it is yours. Right? You can't take it from a book. You can't take it from your teacher. You can't take it from non-human superpower. You will have to work and you will have to make it yourself. Then only it becomes yours. Then only it becomes first-hand experience. So that is the difference between the Buddha's practice, Buddha's teaching, and all other teachings. In all other teachings, someone else is giving. You will have to pray and get. Or in present day science, you don't have first-hand experience. It is in a lab. It is in a tube. It is in so many meters long or so many kilometers long plant. Right? It is third-party experience, outside experience. But here, Sang, your own self experience is what the Blessed One is focusing on. So this word is very important. And when you say complete, it is not just superficial. It is not just the surface. It is the totality. You go into deep. You start with the body and keep digging, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging until you see everything. So that is the totality. So the example I remember, I don't remember when he said that, but it was a nice example. Once when I was listening to Bhante Ajahn Brahmavaso some time ago, he gave a nice simile. He is passing when he is going to his monastery. He is passing, it seems, a mountain peak, right? So on that peak, when he is going on the car, just sees it and it is beautiful. And one day, he has requested the driver to slow down on that peak. So when he slows down on the peak, he has seen more beauty because he's not going fast. And then the other day, he has asked the driver to stop and he has seen the place from the car. And then the next turn, he has stopped the car, he has come out of the car and walked a bit and gone to the lookout and seen the place. Right? So when you say totality, you will have to get as close as possible. When you get as close as possible, only you can see the totality. Otherwise, we see things superficially, right? So in Sampajanya, when you get close to Sampajanya, you don't do superficially. You try to get as close as possible. So this is the reason why when we say, for example, when we do our sitting practice, when we sit, right, we try to see how the in-breath starts. We try to see how it progresses. We try to see how it gradually subsides. We try to see what happens after the in-breath is completely over, right? You can see those things only when you get close, right? You let the phenomena happen and you go and sit on the beach and see how the sun is rising or sun is setting down. You don't try to go and set the sun down or rise the sun up. You observe. When you observe, only you can see the totality. If you don't observe, if you get involved with it, you can't see. Right? So that is the meaning of complete totality. And then janya means the knowledge. This is not the knowledge that you get when you get through your exam. It is not the knowledge that you get from your degree. It's not the knowledge that you get from your postgraduate studies. It is not the knowledge that you get from your continuing professional practice. The stupid word that I have ever heard in the world. There is no time in our life that people want us to rest, right? And we have taken that so much on board. Every day we have got to learn. Every day we have to learn. It is good, but when is it going to end? When is it going to end our suffering? That is continuation of suffering, right? Anyway, putting that aside, what I simply want to say is the knowledge means not the knowledge that you gain from your schooling or university life or any other life after that. It is the common sense. The common sense will be with the slave and its master. It may be with the husband as well as with the wife. It may be with the doctor as well as with the patient. It may be with the king. It may be with the subject. It may be with the children or it may be with the parents. Because common sense is something which does not relate to anything else. Because in the world, in this universe, in our existence, we all are having the same basic nature. We all are the same number of years, possibly old. No one is younger, no one is older. If we base our age only on the physical process. Yes, this physical process, I have had it for 60 years, 70 years, 50 years, 38 years. But the mental process has been there for a long, long, long time. So therefore, that knowledge that we have, the common sense that we have, is the knowledge that the Blessed One is talking here for the upliftment of the spiritual path. So when you take its simple meaning once again, self-gained total knowledge is the main factor that drives the whole Dhamma life, the whole spiritual life, whole spiritual path. And that is very much evident in this particular sutta that we are discussing. Throughout Four Foundations of Mindfulness discourse, that is what is being brought forward or uplifted or taken up, right? And even in a broader sense, in the entire Dhamma path, the pathway to Nibbana is based on this self-gained total knowledge, right? So let me put it this way. If you take this particular discourse, as I mentioned earlier, Blessed One says these are the four foundations. What are the four foundations? Mindfulness on the body, mindfulness on the feelings, or mindfulness on the mind, mindfulness on the phenomena. For these four things, he's giving three qualities with which we will have to be mindful of. One of those qualities is the clear comprehension led by mindfulness. In Pali, we call it Sampajano Satima. So he's warning us at the very beginning, you must have Sampajano, Sampajanya, self-gain total knowledge, which is geared by mindfulness. Right? So he has warned us. Not only he has warned us, if you see the first body mindfulness technique, being mindfulness of the respiration, if you see that, what you get there is sampajanya. What you get there is the clear comprehension led by mindfulness, right? If I recollect your memory now about the first method, what the Blessed One says is, Bhikkhu, Be aware when you are breathing in that you are breathing in. When you are breathing out, that you are breathing out. Just be aware, just pay attention, right? Then in the next one, he says, be aware when you are breathing in long, that you are breathing in long. When you are breathing out long, when you are breathing out long. When you are breathing in short, you are aware that you are breathing in short. When you are breathing out short, you are aware that you are breathing out short. What does that mean? He just gradually takes our attention. When you observe your breath, don't hold it. It may change. One example is this. Initially you will see the longer breath. Just be aware that it is longer breath. And after some time, your breath will change. It will become shorter, and then you become aware that it is shorter. And if that happens, you become aware of it. And not that you do it purposely. Not that you do it purposely. And it is even more evident in the next one. What he says is, you become more and more involved in it, absorbed in it. First, when it is long or short, you become aware. And when you become aware of those things, the longer breath, when you keep on observing, when you don't react to it, when you are not involved with outside things that are happening, when your mind is not wandering away, when you are not struggling with things, your energy is getting more and more conserved. When the energy is getting conserved, you don't want so much of breath. Your breath will naturally get subtler, 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 and it will go to very, very subtle layers. When it goes to subtle layers, what the Blessed One says is, through the breath, brought your mind to your body, and you may now will not see the breath as such. You will start feeling the entire body. And with seeing the entire body, you become more disciplined with the body. You become more aware of the body. Right? So it is again a clear comprehension. You started with your breath. It became longer and initially, and then because of your discipline, spiritual discipline, it became shorter. Now you can't say shorter, it is so subtle. You feel the whole body when you observe. That is clear comprehension. It keeps on changing and you just let it go. And that may be the reason why in this particular one it says, constant, thorough understanding of impermanence. Impermanence means it keeps changing and you just allow the change to happen. But that is not the real meaning of samadhi. You let it happen and then you just keep on observing it. Now you see the totality. First you started with the breath. Now you see the totality. More things that is happening with the breath. More things that is happening with the breath means when you breathe in, there is no cell in this body which is not affected. Now, those cells that are getting affected, you start feeling initially in gross form, and when you keep on observing, even that becomes subtler. Your feelings become subtler. And some may feel ants crawling in the whole body, right? Or worms going in the whole body, right? It becomes so subtle. And then it may come even to a stage, you don't even feel that. You don't feel the breath at all. You know you are there. Your awareness is there, but you don't feel anything. You don't feel ants, you don't feel worms, you don't feel anything. But you know some awareness of the body is there. You know that you are breathing in, then you know that you are breathing out. So how did this happen? You just observed. Let it happen. complete understanding of the body, of the breathing, of the respiration. Who gained it? Your practice. Self-practice. So in that itself, the Blessed One, although he has not mentioned, he has delivered in such a way that the clear comprehension is taking place. There is nothing for us to go and inject, nothing for us to go and plug and get the energy. It is happening if you do it properly. What do you mean by properly? Keep the mindfulness to the fore. Let things happen, you observe. Then it is happening. And then he is taking that even further. How he takes this further is, now you cannot be sitting 24/7. Therefore, he wants to take this clear comprehension of the total understanding to the other postures. So he says, you become aware when you are getting up, when you are standing, you become aware you are standing up. Those are the postures, the second way of mindfulness that the Blessed One is explaining in body mindfulness. And when you are sitting down, you are aware that you are sitting down. When you are lying down, you become aware that you are lying down. So it's a continuation of the mindfulness. You have gone to the depth of mindfulness in the respiration observation, and that depth, now you are increasing the width of it by taking that ability, by taking that skill to the other postures. Now in this one that we discussed today, is not only taking the postures, he is breaking the postures even further. He's trying to take our attention more in. He's trying to take our attention more to see the totality, right? He says, not just walking. He says, going forward, coming backward, just be aware that you're doing that. That is what we do when we do our walking practice. Initially, when we do our walking practice, how do you walk? What do you feel? Okay, I feel when I am placing my leg, I first place the heel and then the rest of it, and then I feel the toes. That is what you say. This is what I feel. Or you may say, when I complete my placing of the foot, the step, I feel coldness, or I feel the warmth, or whatever that you feel, you may say. And then your teacher may ask, okay, that is when you please. Oh, sorry, that is when you place. But try to see what you feel when you lift. How it comes up. How that coldness changes. How that warmth changes. Right? And then you will observe that. Now you know what you feel when you place. And then you come from behind the cycle. And then now you observe what you feel when you lift. And then your teacher may ask, okay, now see what you feel when you move. So you will say, when you lift, you may observe that something that is very firmly pasted on the ground is tearing up slowly. When you keep the foot, that foot is completely in contact with whatever the surface that you are in. To take the foot, when you take it, it's like a plaster coming out. You may feel that. The first heel top part of the plaster, and then the arch area, and then the fingers. And then you may say, if the teacher is asking to observe the movement of the leg, you will say, okay, when I'm moving the leg, I can see one leg is just moving in the air and total body weight is going on to the other leg. Now, you are seeing more and more things in this process. You're observing one leg, say right leg, but you can't observe the right leg without your attention being driven to the left leg, because your body weight is taken by that. And then you come and say, when I am observing right leg, I feel the left leg. When I observe the left leg, I feel the right leg. So you now see the whole cycle. Who did that? You. How? Keeping the mindfulness to the fore. When you keep the mindfulness to the fore, When the mindfulness is in the driving seat, you start seeing the whole cycle. And for that to happen, the Blessed One is giving some pointers here. Blessed One is giving some triggers here. And what he says is, when you go forward, be aware of that. When you come backward, be aware of that. And he's also saying, looking straight ahead, just become aware that you're looking straight ahead. Looking sideways, just be aware that you're looking sideways. Right? So there is no action that he has not forgotten here. And then he says, while bending or stretching, this is what we do all the time. Whether you raise hand or whether you walk or whether you see, whatever you do, you bend and stretch. Just be aware that. Keep the attention with your body. That is what it simply says. And while wearing his robes or carrying his ball, so we don't wear robes, we don't carry ball, but we wear our clothes. So we can be aware when we wear our clothes, taking the clothes and putting the clothes on, and a lot of things are happening. So just be aware of those things. What you feel when you touch the cloth, what you feel when you take it closer, what you feel when you wear it. So your attention is always with what you do and with what you feel in your body. And then he's showing his compassion even further. He says, while eating, drinking, chewing, or savoring, just be aware. It doesn't ask us not to do anything. Do whatever you do, right? But just be aware. He's not saying here eating and drinking only soft drinks. If you take hard, no problem, but be aware. It's something that I myself have seen when I went to Toronto. I may have told this to you even earlier. Toronto, and I met some of my friends, and they said, okay, we have met after 35 years. We need to throw a party. I said, okay, fine, arrange everything. And the whole family went, and they had brought all the cans and bottles and the glasses and everything. I said, I don't drink. And then I had to tell, especially because of the female components there. They started saying, Ane Jayakodiya, Kiyanda Mokadune, and then I started saying, we started practicing mindfulness, and this is mindfulness, this is what is happening, and all that. And you don't believe, 80% of the people who were there drinking, they had drinks in their glasses. They did not drink. They just went and poured into the sink. Just by telling in that 1.5 hours, just by listening, they became mindful of drinking. And when you become mindful of whatever, even the bad thing that you do, because of the mindfulness, your mind gets opened up and you see that it is bad. That is what he is saying. That is the compassion, right? When you are eating, when you are drinking, and most of us keep on eating junk foods, doesn't matter. Just be aware. Just be aware. It will gradually reduce. So, and he's saying chewing and savoring and all that. And his compassion is even going further. He says, while attending to the calls of nature. That is the compassion. Even there, you can be mindful. And it's a place where you can be 100% mindful. You are more close to nature. In the most natural form you came to this world, you are there. So you can be very closely mindful, even when you are calls of nature. So that is the compassion the Blessed One is expressing. Blessed One is introducing to the world. And then he is completing that here, saying, walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, speaking, and even in silence. Even when you speak, it is very hard. Just be mindful that just be aware in the back of your head you are talking, right? And by doing that itself, your talking will reduce. And when you are in silence, Even that, don't let your silence to make you sleep. Just be aware that you are silent. So your alertness will not go. Whatever happen will happen in that silence, you can be aware of. So, and then he finally says, whatever that you do, and that part is not, of course, here given in this English explanation, but in Pali explanation, what they say is, in whatever form that you are in, just be aware of that. So that is how the third part, Blessed One is now taking this sampajanya, taking this constant self-understanding even further. So the question is, when we have this constant thorough understanding, whether we are actually accepting when we practice this constant thorough understanding, or the self-gain, the total knowledge is happening. Right? Today in the morning we had a session for some friends in Sri Lanka. In that, one person said, when I can walk mindfully very well, but after some time, I start feeling the whole body. Right? It's a very good report. Two sentences, but very good report. In that report, what you see is clear comprehension, or the self-gain, total knowledge is not there. It has happened. That is why she is able to observe or feel the whole body while walking, not while sitting even. But she has not followed each and every step. So the constant thorough understanding is, self-knowledge has happened but not grasped. The reason is, it is happening. And when it is happening, if you are not alert enough, it will happen, you don't know. So therefore, even though it happens, our ignorance will reign in those areas. Our ignorance will be ruling in those areas. This is the reason why the Blessed One is bringing this clear comprehension led by mindfulness, even to the minute parts. That is why he wants to say, when you go forward, be aware that you are going forward. Some may feel, what nonsense is this? Is this spirituality? It is such a simple thing. When you bring your attention in that manner to the simple things, you gradually come closer. So I had to tell that person, okay, doesn't matter. You have done very well, but only thing is missing is the additional informations are not there. So next time when you report, tell what you observe in your leg when you walk, and then see how it progresses, how it processes into feel your whole body. Then that becomes samadhi. This is why when we say, when we practice, you observe your tummy rising up and down, and then you observe the beginning of it, observe the progress of it, observe the subsiding of it, observe what happens after that, which means we try to maintain our alertness, attention, awareness continuously. That provides a clear comprehension. You know what happens, right? So, so although these things are happening, we may not notice, but it is not anybody's fault. It is a natural phenomena that is taking place based on whatever the defilements we have. Our defilements are still ruling us. So the defilements may take upper hand, even though when we practice, when we go on the spiritual path, right? We will have to go with the defilements only. So with the discussion, we can, your noble friend will be able to see what is the missing link, and then he will be help you to take your alertness, take your attention to those missing links and join the dots and let you see the total picture. So in this manner, you will be starting with your body, your respiration, and then I said the entire discourse is based on clear comprehension. With the body, when you master your body, it does not take years. It may happen in 2 minutes. It may happen in 5 minutes. Sometimes it may take few months. Then you may go to your sensations, your feeling, and then you may go to your mind, and then you may go to your phenomena. So that is also clear comprehension. You let whatever that happens happen, and you just keep observing. Right? Sampajano satima, clear comprehension led by mindfulness. And I also said the entire Dhammapath in that. The entire Dhammapath is in that, because I will just take one example. You know, there are 37 factors for enlightenment. In those 37 factors, one factor is the mindfulness. I'm just taking one factor. And that mindfulness, initially we introduced that mindfulness as 4 foundations of mindfulness, from the body to the feelings, to the mind, to the phenomena. And then if you can do that, if you have the general ability to maintain mindfulness, today, once again in the morning discussion, a lady who has started mindfulness with our program about 2 months ago, she said, now when I walk, even to go to the bus, even to go to the well, from the kitchen, they are from Sri Lanka, so they're using wells and things like that. My attention goes to the movement of the leg. What a nice saying. She's about 60 years old. She has walked for 60 years. Now only she knows she's walking. Because now that mindfulness is developing. Mindfulness itself is evolving. Because of what? Because of clear comprehension. So that mindfulness, 4 foundations of mindfulness has become now a spiritual faculty for her. And then it may evolve into spiritual power. And then it will go to a factor of enlightenment. And then it becomes the right mindfulness, right, which leads to right concentration. So that way, this clear comprehension lets your spiritual faculties to evolve as well at the same time. So that's the reason why I said your clear comprehension goes through the entire path. So for that reason, clear comprehension in this particular chapter is so important. But although it is happening with that explanation, what is clear is that you start the practice with one thing, but you end the practice with something else. It's like a relay race. Sunil will start the race, but to the winning post, Sarat will go, changing the baton. Right, 4 foundations of mindfulness to the faculty, faculty to the power, power to the next thing to the next thing. Right, even within this discourse, going to the body, body to the feeling, feeling to the mind, mind to the phenomena. It is not compulsory that it should happen in that sequence, right? But it may jump or it may be having a matrix relationship. Whatever it is, these are the things that are happening, right? So you start with one, end with something else. When this happens, a lot of questions, People in the discussions, a lot of people ask why this is happening. What should I do next? Why, if this is happening this way, why that discourse says this, right? So we complicate even the practice that is going smoothly as much as possible. So hope this discussion, this talk may help you to progress the practice without getting involved in the natural phenomena, and just be aware as much as possible to provide clear comprehension, which means self-gained total knowledge. Teruvan Saranai. With that, I would like to ask the group whether there is any talking point. Chatuputa has raised hand. Chatu, yes.
Hello, Uncle. I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question. It's about samatha, or maybe a little bit about theory, or sort of theoretical question. I'll give a small background. So this is after I went to this personal retreat at Dhammagiri, or you could say Thai forest tradition.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't know anything about it. But from what I understand is in that forest tradition, they talk all the time about mindfulness, and they practice mindfulness in day-to-day activities, but their practical, or you could say their meditation, is all sort of samatha geared. Am I correct in that sort of understanding?
How do I how do I answer that? I prefer not to comment on that.
Okay.
Because let me put it this way: mindfulness means being aware of ourselves, right? Mindfulness is here now, I am. So we will have to be, okay, we are going there just to find seclusion. We find seclusion. I am sure you have done what you are doing. So I don't think they impose us their practice. So whatever they do, let them do. We know what we are doing. We know how effective it is. So we just keep on doing that. I know I did not answer your question.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Can I ask? So I want to ask a separate question. It's a follow-up. So, as I understand, so someone who used samatha as his vehicle, his or her vehicle, and then at some point in time turns to vipassana or insight. I was always under the impression that someone who does that pathway goes through the same, when they turn to insight, they go through the same objects and experiences as what we're doing. But I'm not entirely sure if that actually happens. Is that something you can answer? I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, it is something that I can answer. Can I ask a question before I answer? Do you know the difference between samatha and vipassana?
I would put samatha as you look at an object and you make sure that object is in view, but you don't look into it and you disregard anything else that's coming. You just maintain, you make that object permanent to some extent, whereas we are just watching whatever that's happening.
Yeah. Okay. In other words, you have the understanding, what you said is fairly correct. understanding that in samatha always some sort of an object is maintained, right? When you practice samatha, objects get subtler, and it may go even to, it may change from material form to immaterial form. Even in immaterial form, or immateriality, I should say, or non-matter, I should say, you have that object, right? You try to hold on to it, right? So that holding on to it is not there in vipassana. In vipassana, what we do is let the natural phenomena take place and you simply observe. So the Blessed One, only thing Blessed One introduced was how you let go of that holding. And that is why teachers before Buddha, before becoming Buddha, his teachers were Samatha teachers. And they took him to 7th and 8th absorption. The Blessed One felt, even in 8th absorption, there is something missing. There is some sort of suffering. Because you have got to hold on to something. Yeah, it's very subtle. It's not material. But still you have got to hold on to it. And as a result of that, it has some sort of agony going through you. So therefore, Blessed One says, no, I will have to go and find the truth. And he went out and tried his level best for 6 years. And then finally he found the middle path. And then he said, only thing you have got to do is keep your mind to the body and have the mindfulness to the fore. Keep the mindfulness in front. Let whatever happen. Your job is simply to observe. So things will change. Let them change. Are you aware? Are you aware? Are you aware? Is the question you will have to ask. Right? So in that way, Blessed One came out of samatha. So when we practice, even samatha practitioners as well as vipassana practitioners take the same object. But the attitude towards the object is different. So if someone is having a samatha teacher, he will push you to hold on to it. And vipassana teachers will push you to hold, to not to hold on to it, but to see the details of it. He will not ask you to maintain the object. He will ask you to see the details of the object. If you see one thing, he is not happy. He will say one more thing. Okay, go and see this. And then if you see that, he will say, now you go and say this. He will not stop you. Push you as much as possible. So whether samatha turning to vipassana depends on the teacher. And if you follow Satipatthana Sutta, or the 4 foundations of mindfulness discourse, and if you keep the mindfulness to the fore, you don't want a teacher. Your teacher is mindfulness, which is in front. That itself is vipassana. That is how the Blessed One has built up the 4 foundations of mindfulness sutta, and he does not utter a word about samatha practice or the concentration practice in that sutta, because he starts at the very outset. Go to a forest, go to a foot of a tree, go to an empty hut, sit cross-legged, have your spinal straight, keep the mindfulness to the, take the attention to the body, keep the mindfulness to the fore. Job done. And the rest will happen. Did it make any sense, Chatu?
Yeah, it was a good answer. I think I know why you didn't want to answer that question. It's actually because even there, because I got really confused when I was there because I had no background. Because they even talk about Satipatthana Sutta, like they're talking about it, but in terms of what they do with it, it's all samatha. Yeah. So that's why I got really confused when I was there. It's like, what are we actually doing? because the practical part, like the sitting,
Yeah.
they don't do much walking, was all samatha, but they were talking mindfulness, and then it was very weird.
Yeah, I know,
To
I know.
put it.
I have been there for about 3 years. That's a very good resource for us to find seclusion. We just go and use that facility, that's all, and practice our own.
Thank you, Uncle. One more a quick message. So Bante, he likes me, and he also gives Anmodana to you, Uncle, for introducing me to that place, and also me for you, Uncle, for giving me that opportunity to go there. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Anumodami. Okay, Chandi. You will have to unmute. Yes, you can speak up. You will have to unmute and speak. Chandi, you can, maybe Chandi's son or daughter, I'm not sure.
Hello?
Yeah, now you can talk. Thank you.
Okay. So I have a question about during meditation and mindfulness having some sort of like pain in the body, like noticing the pain.
Yeah.
So is that brought on, like, if so after the meditation, the sitting meditation, I noticed I had like a pain in my like abdomen, like
Yeah.
a shooting pain in my abdomen. Is that caused by like awareness of the body during meditation, or is that just like natural? Because Amma said it might have to do with like being aware during the meditation, and then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you questions.
Yeah.
When you present, I will first. Is it okay if I first tell you
Yeah.
how to present a report?
Yeah.
When you present the report, what you will have to do is you will have to first mention what you are doing. You mentioned that it is sitting practice. That is good.
Yeah.
And then you will have to say, this is how I do my sitting practice. When I say this is how, you will have to say whether you're observing your abdomen, or whether you're observing your chest, or whether you're observing your nostril, whether you're observing your respiration, or whether
Yeah.
you observe something else in your body. So of that list, what do you observe?
I was observing like the stomach area.
Yeah. So you were observing the rising and falling of the tummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you observe the rising and falling of the tummy, that is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
What is your actual observation? Did you see the rising of the tummy? Did you see the falling of the tummy?
Yeah, I felt the falling and the rising of the stomach.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that has to be mentioned.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you will have to say, when you observe the rising, when you observe the falling.
Okay.
How does the rising happen? How does the falling happen?
Like with each in breath and each out breath.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Those things are important because you exactly know what is happening. I mean, you have definitely observed those things. I'm not saying no. I'm trying to change the habit pattern of the mind because our mind is trying to hide those things.
Yeah.
Right? Mind is trying to maintain the ignorance of those things as long as possible. So we can break that habit of the mind by giving as much details as possible, right? So since you have observed that, since you have seen that it is very good, you have seen the difference between in breath and out breath because one is rising and the other is falling. Now, can I ask another bit? I would say a step further. Did you see any change in the rising pattern and falling pattern when you keep on observing?
It got slower, but other than that, not really.
That is the most important thing that you will have to mention.
Okay.
To say, I was observing, when I was observing, I was able to observe, say, 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever.
Mhm.
And during that period, I observed constantly my rising and falling became subtle,
Yeah.
right? So did you reach any point where your attention is there in the rising and falling of the tummy, but rising and falling is not happening? Did you observe that?
No.
Yes. So next time when you do that, you have observed now up to the point that it becomes subtle,
Okay.
right? And then you are talking about some shooting sensation that is happening in
Mhm.
your stomach area, in your tummy, right? So
Yeah.
that is a possibility
Mhm.
that happens. But the relationship between the subtle breath, or rather subtle tummy movement, and that sensation, shooting sensation that you're observing is missing. There is a link between those two. Or in other words, the alertness or awareness between those two has also become has faded away, right? So now when the breath becomes subtler or the movement of the tummy becomes subtler, your alertness level should not fade away. It should
Yeah.
maintain at the same level, or it should increase. So you have to get closer as as close as possible when the subtle tummy movements happen, right? Then only you will be able to see the link between that subtle tummy movement and this shooting. And don't worry about that shooting. It has happened and it is possible. It is natural. So next time, if it happens, let it happen. But
Yeah.
try to become more mindful of this subtle movement, and then you see the link. And after that, other developments will take place. Let those take place as well. It's a good observation, and don't worry about it. It's a natural thing. Did I answer you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Keep on.
Thank you.
It's very good work. Keep on doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Teruvan saranai.
Thank you.
Dulmini Nangi.
Thank
Teruvan
you for the great explanations.
no worries.
Yeah. And well, I want to tell about the retreat going on in Perth from 25th to 1st.
Yeah.
It's conducted by Avaluku Hamaduro.
Yeah.
And he'll join us through Zoom.
Yeah.
And it'll be in English. So the group can join us via Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know that.
Yeah.
I only have arranged that.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, because this group is I mean, we are following this particular discourse in this particular topic. So anyone who wish to join, more than allowed to join that, but we will be continuing this as usual. I think next session is coming on the 23rd. Today is 23rd or 4th?
Yeah, 23rd.
23rd. So next is 30th. And yeah, so we will not have any sessions. So this group will be able to join. So what time do you guys start?
The talk will be at 7:30 Perth time. That is for y'all it will be 9:30.
9:30. That is the time we start snoring.
No.
And especially New South Wales and Victoria will be dreaming. So
yeah, but you can join the Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A. Yes.
It's at 4:30. That is 6:30 your time.
Yeah, that is possible. Yes. So anyone who wish to join, let me know. I will send you the link. It's not this link. It's a different link. Thank you very much for reminding that, Nandi.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Yeah, Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai, Teruvan Saranai. Gani Nandi. I think you will have to unmute. Yeah.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai. And first of all, thank you so much for the beautiful explanation. Thank you and much merits.
Anumodami.
I thought I'll get my Kamatahan cleared with this thing, and it's something I've already spoken, but I thought I will voice something that kind of tingling in my head.
Yeah.
It's about when you have to face a challenge, that's when you would see lots of thoughts coming in such a huge speed in your mind, and you would think that, oh yes, I am, I'm not gonna be like scattered in that moment. I thought about myself that I would be much more concentrated, or rather much more in a belief, like I still have the belief, but the faith and it's so the faith as well as the concentration. I thought that I am there, but truly in the real life, when a challenge hit, I was pretty surprised to see how much my mind got distorted, rather like, it's all over the shop and acted upon it. So I feel that embarrassment. So I wanted to just put it out for others to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done anything bad, like just to let others know, because there's quite a lot of people in this call. So just to let everyone know, it's nothing bad, but it's a moment where I felt that I should have been calm and taken a slower action. And yes, and I was quite surprised to see myself being carried away with one thought that says, yeah, this could be an infection or whatever it is, but the truth is it's not. So, and I felt in another way that this would be very similar to our moment of death, because we would not know, like this millions of thoughts that can come in and tell us that, oh, this could be this could be that, and so on. But being true to yourself and not to get so much carried away with them is where I want to achieve.
Yeah. Right.
So
do you have, is it a question or it's a statement for others to know?
no, I want to build that skill. Like I want to be strong in that moment, not to be drifted. Like in a normal time, I'm okay. Like in a normal sense, on a normal day to day, I'm fine. And life has thrown me into different ends, and I have been good at them in other sense, like in the life events and other various different occasions I had, which I faced on my own. But this is another level of test, which tested me. And I want to be strong. So I don't know, like that's the question.
Yes. No, I since you have spoken to me and we keep on talking about many things, so I understand where you're coming from. And since it is a life event, and as you said, the number one most important thing is, you said you want to put it out for others to hear. So that's a very strong statement to make, which says, or which which is trying, I should say, by doing that, you don't allow yourself to make an identification with what is happening. You tell everybody, which means it is not for yourself. You don't keep it as a secret. You don't dwell in it. You just throw it out. So therefore, by doing that, the strength of that phenomena is reducing. Strength of that phenomena is subsiding. So that's a very good thing that anyone should do. And the other thing is the heightened mindfulness. And this intensification of thought process or intensified thought process is not something new. It has been there in our entire existence. But funny enough, we have never ever seen this. Now we can see it because our mind has taken a window of opportunity to see what is happening. There is a small space that we have created within ourselves. Instead of getting involved in it, instead of getting entangled with it, we have the ability now to take a step back and see what is happening. And when we see what is happening, there is nothing to see, all garbage, all stinking, all rubbish. And when we see that rubbish, when we see that garbage, when we see that confusion, then that worry takes place. Worry happens, right? So this is why Blessed One said, the discussion is extremely important when you practice. Because you are going from known to unknown. When the unknown takes place, when the unknown happens, when in fact, when things that have been there comes to surface, it is an unknown for you. When that unknown appears, now you have somebody to go to and have a chat with or discuss about it. So he or she will be able to show how it is happening, why it is happening, and you yourself have seen how it is happening, why it is happening, because you explained what is going on. And within this moment of talking, if you just sit and observe, the suggestions that the mind is giving is so much we have no ability to speak them. We have no ability to spell it out. It is happening so fast, right? So only thing is we become silent and keep on observing, and that worry happens. And worry happens is also another phenomenon. So since you are aware that it is happening, go prepared. That is the next paper. Go prepared. This intensification is there, and that intensification is showing all my garbage, and seeing garbage is not what I expected, or at least what my mind has expected. So therefore mind is getting worried. Right? So when the mind gets worried, you become aware that your mind is worried. Then when you throw the light of the mindfulness to the worry, the ignorance in the worry disappears. You are worried because there is ignorance in the worry, because you have not expected that being mindful garbage is what I will see. So because of that non-expectation of garbage, the worry takes place. So when the worry is happening, you become aware of worry, then still the garbage will be there. Then you will create an opportunity, another window of opportunity to observe or accept the garbage as garbage. So there are two ways. If the worry happens, you just be aware of the worry and just keep labeling that I'm worried, or whatever that you can label with. and then you can observe what happens to that worry. Whether worry goes away, or when you observe how it affects your body, things like that you can observe. And then still your worry definitely will subside. And then still the garbage will come up. More garbage will come up because you are not reacting to the garbage that is on the surface now. Then the garbage inside will come out. More and more will come out. So when more and more comes out, now you have the ability, since you are not worried, you will be able to focus and accept the garbage come out. When the garbage is coming out, you just accept it as it is. Garbage is coming out, accept that. So your expectation for non-expectation of the garbage will go. As a result, worry will not happen, and more garbage will come and they will go out because there is no reaction. So your garbage will be naturally cleared, or at least the thoughts will happen. You will not consider them at all, right? I'm not quite sure whether I explained very well, but I tried my level best. Did it make any sense, Nangi?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. Any other thing anyone wants to speak? Right. So if there are no other discussion points, we can wind up the session. So before I wind up the session, I will remind once again the discourse time of Perth. It's 6:30 Brisbane time and 9:30 Brisbane time, both happening in English and done by Bante. So if anyone wants to join, let me know. I will be able to send the link, and so you can join. And other than that, they are practicing from morning. So if you want to join, let me know. I will send the whole timetable. So with that reminder, we can share these positive energies we have generated with all the living beings who are ready and who are expecting such positive vibrations, mainly whoever who has helped the Blessed One during his long period of perfections, and then any living being who has helped to bring this Buddha's word, practicing word, from the demise of the Buddha to our time and to our teacher, Bhante Dhammajiva, and any living being who looks after him, and people who are investing their time and energy in organizing these events, and whoever at home, our parents, maybe children or spouses who are helping us to do these type of things by taking at least 2 to 3 hours. Saturday evening is not easy for anybody. So we pass these positive energies to them as well for bearing up with us. And for all of you who take this Saturday evening at least fortnightly, and practice and discuss, means this Buddha's word, you are taking it further, you are taking it to the next generation. So much merit to you for doing that. And any other living being, maybe human, maybe non-human, maybe near, maybe far, if they are happy by listening to this, if they become rejoiced by listening to this, may all of them have all these merits. So with that wish in our mind, we will chant the usual stanzas. Tavatacha Ettavatacha ammehi sambadang punya sampadang sabbe devanumodantu sabbasang patisiddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambadang punya sampadang sabbe bhutanumodantu sabbasang patisiddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambadang punya sampadang Sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika. Punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu buddha sasanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika. Punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu buddha desanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika. Punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu buddha savakam. Idang ho nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyate. Idang ho nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyate. Idang ho nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyate. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo. Satan samagamo hotu yavanibbana patya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo. Satan samagamo hotu yavanibbana patya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo. Satan samagamo hotu yavanibbana patya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Teruvan Saranai, everybody.
Teruvan Saranai Amanataya.
Teruvan Saranai.
Thank you, Uncle.
Teruvan Saranai.
Thank
Teruvan
you,
Saranai.
Ataya.
Teruvan Saranai.